Hello, welcome back, and we're moving on and we're going to start talking about variables in Python. Now, variables are fundamental in any programming language, so fundamental that I deem them worthy of a slide. Now, this definition up top here is kind of from everyday life, so I hope that you're familiar with that. This one here, though, in programming, a variable is a value that can change depending on conditions or on information passed to the program. I quite like that definition. I would say the most important words are here, value that can change. So let's start talking about some specific examples. So we're here in the Python shell. So remember, type Python from your terminal on Windows or Python 3 on a Mac, or if you're using any other Python shell, welcome. Now, first of all, let's talk about the rules for naming variables, so your program just simply won't work if you break these rules. Now, the name of your variable has to start with a letter, either upper or lowercase, or it can also start with an underscore. I'd avoid underscores certainly to start with because they have special meaning in Python. So if you try and name a variable that begins with a number, you're going to get a syntax error. So let's just try that. If we try and do a variable called name, it's not going to have that. Name 9 would be fine. We can have numbers just not at the start. So let's call this one Fred Belcher. He's a good friend of mine. Now, a helpful way to think about variables can be as containers that store information, and we can then recall that information on demand. So here in the terminal, oops, I thought I'd called it name. Of course, it's name 9, and we get the name printed back to us. Remember, if you're running a program, then you'd have to use the print function in to actually see the output there. Okay. Now, another rule with variable names is you cannot have special characters in them, so anything like that. So if we try and do this one, we're going to get an error message. Now here it says can't assign to operator. I'm guessing, yeah, because that of course is the modulus operator, the percentage sign there, so it's not going to have that either there. Now, moving on to conventions for variable names. In Python, the convention is to use lowercase letters, and if you have multiple words in your variable name, then you separate the words with a underscore character like that. It's called lower snake case, so you can do that easily enough. Now, other languages, I'll use something called camel case, and how that works is you just give a capital letter to the first letter of each additional word. Now, that's perfectly legal in Python. It's just basically against the conventions of the language there. So my advice is stick to lower snake case and you'll fit in nicely. Right, so just to kind of try and nail how a variable actually works. Now, a key thing to note is we obviously use the equal sign when we're creating variables. Now, the technical name for this is the assignment operator. So let's create a numeric variable. Say IQ, that's intelligence quotient, equals 112. Now, how things work here are the value on the right hand side of the equals or assignment operator, in this case 112, that gets assigned to whatever is on the left hand side, in this case the variable name IQ. So we have that there. So that's probably the best way to think about it. I mean, don't worry about the exact details too much. You'll get into the swing of things just through use, I am sure. Now, obviously variables can change, otherwise the name would be a bit of a misnomer. Now, we can change the value of a variable just by reassigning it to something else. So let's say we've had a lot of cider to drink and we take an IQ test again, and it takes a bit of a hit, as you can see there. So those are the absolute basics of setting up and using variables. I'll just mention something else. Actually, another rule is you can't name your variable the same as any of the Python keywords. Now, here is a list of all of the Python keywords. Now, I know we haven't seen any of these yet, but let's just pick one at random. Let's pick with and try and use that as a variable name. So if we say with equals whatever, say Tommy, we'll get a syntax error. So just bear that in mind if you get a syntax error and you're scratching your head as to why that could be a possible reason. I'm going to finish this video off though by showing you something a bit strange, and that's because you can name your variables the same as one of the built-in Python functions. Now, we've only seen one of these so far, and that is print. So bear in mind it's case sensitive, so the Python function is print in lowercase. But what you can do, you can say print equals Fred, and we don't get any kind of error message. Now, to be honest, I think life would be easier if we did, but however, we don't. What we've actually done there though is we've overwritten the print function, and we're now no longer able to use it. So that means we actually can't print anything at all. So if we just try and print the string literal hello, it says the string object is not callable. So like I say, we've completely overwritten it. Now, don't panic, we haven't broken anything serious here. All I would need to do in this case is we can quit out of the Python shell, and if we go back into it, it's completely reset as to how it was before. I'll just demonstrate in case you're going to lose any sleep. And there you see. So basically, don't call your variables the same as any built-in function name either. Okay, so that's it for this video. I would just focus on the absolute basics. You don't need to remember everything here. There is another video after this one talking more about variables as well, but once we start writing programs, they will, I'm sure, become second nature to you. So thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.